Motherhood Incorporated proudly presents Military Mom Talk Radio live on Toginet.com. Co-hosted by Robin Boyd and Sandra Beck, the owner of Motherhood Incorporated. Military Mom Talk Radio is here with a powerful platform for women to discuss their ideas, issues, and concerns with respect to the military lifestyle. Military Mom Talk Radio encourages you to share your experiences of being a military wife and mother. This show is dedicated to educating your family about the many resources that are available in both the public and private sector. And we'll be sharing helpful information from women all over the world. We'll cover everything military, from helping a family member cope with post-traumatic stress disorder, to navigating government programs dealing with family issues, to the struggles of deployment, along with being a working mother both in and out of the home. This is Military Mom Talk Radio, and here are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey, military moms, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Robin Boyd. And Robin, we've got a great show today. We've got Debbie Gregory coming to us, and she's going to talk about Military Connection. They got a new website and lots of new offerings. And she's also going to bring us up to speed what's happening with VAMBOA, which is that veteran business association. So, it's really cool that we're going to get two bangs for the buck with Debbie Gregory.
Debbie always has such amazing information. The woman has a plethora in her brain of all that is on the pulse of the military lifestyle right now. She's great.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so, it's just so handy. And I think what she does is so important, between the information that she gives out on her website, which is militaryconnection.com, along with, the work she does with VAMBOA.
Exactly. I'm looking at her new site now, and boy, it just the old site was a fabulous site, but it was a little bit harder to navigate. Now I find it is just so easy to navigate. The mega menu that drops down is just chock full of information, real easy to cross-reference things. Really kudos to her for having such a real freshened up site. Really, really fascinating. I'm finding so many things, and her blog is so timely and so interesting. So lots here. There's so many things.
There is. And Rob, you've got a lot of things to cover in our opening segment about what's going on with military life today.
Well, one of the things that I actually found on her website, there is a new organization. I guess we could call it an organization, because there are so many government organizations and specific to the military government entities that it had been discussed for them to come up with sort of a clearinghouse, if you will. Not that Military Connection isn't, but she has done a blog on the National Association of Veteran Serving Organizations, so NAVSO, which has recently been launched to sort of be a directory, if you will, of it's an impartial facilitator for connecting private and public organizations with the common goal of delivering the most impactful service to our nation's veterans and their families. And, even just when you're looking for something and you Google things, you get lost in Google stuff, and then you have things that aren't necessarily current. So to have a website like this certainly would be a wonderful resource, because everything's been cleared. And certainly Military Connection has an awful lot as well. But having this organization sounds like it's really going to be helpful.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, especially there's there's so much today about, careers for military veterans. Everybody's looking for jobs, and there's new GI Bill resources, and there's military loans, and there's veteran schools. I mean, there's so many things out there. And when you do Google this stuff, you don't really know the source. It looks good, but we're here to tell you that, Military Connection is probably one of the best resources for people out there today, because, we've watched this site grow for 5 years, and what it's doing, and how it's evolved to really serve the military family.
Yeah. The other thing that I had wanted to bring up is so many people are looking for scholarships right now. If you've got a high schooler, you are going through it right now, and it is probably consuming your life. It's very involved, and there are many scholarships out there. Again, I know that there's a lot of referrals or references, I should say, on Debbie's site, but I know so many students right now are trying to pull together their little portfolios in order to be able to apply for all of these scholarships. So I kind of wanted to just mention for those who are juniors this year and looking to maybe start the application process in a lot of colleges, that there are probably two things. There's certainly a lot of criteria that they all look for, but two of the most important things, I think, for a young person to pump up their profile, if you will, is community service and whether or not you're holding down a job as well as your grades. I think in a lot of instances, the straight A student is all well and good, but if you don't have that community service and you don't have sort of a job or some kind of career behind you in all of that, they're probably going to look for somebody who's a little more well-rounded. So this summer's coming up, so get out there and get some community service and get some jobs under your belt to make sure that profile is the most appealing to all of those places that you're applying to.
Absolutely. What people don't realize, when you're looking for a job is you're essentially selling yourself.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity for kids because who doesn't need an elevator speech when you're in business or anywhere? But it's really important for kids to understand that the more well-rounded they become, the more appealing and more attractive they're going to be, whether it's a counselor or a school or a future job.
Absolutely. It is absolutely, and with respect to these future jobs, I just want to, I was on a different show a couple days ago that talked about, like why hire a military veteran, why hire former military. And, I just want to say why hire a military family member? When you're a military mom or a military spouse especially, and you've gone through, maybe one or more deployments, you can explain to an employer that you have exceptional problem-solving skills. You're able to multitask. You're able to do, all these different things that are necessary in the military family versus, just having some specific skill sets and the ability to learn. That's another one. Both the military personnel and their families have got to learn on the fly. They got to learn quickly and master it quickly. And those are three really big selling points, whether you're a military spouse or a military service member going into a job interview and you want to talk about, sometimes some of the experiences aren't necessarily relatable in an interview, but what you learned and what you did and what you had to do to be successful in this venue is. So when you're interviewed, talk about multitasking, talk about juggling, talk about, getting everybody to where they need to go or getting your, group ready for whatever you need to get them ready for. All that stuff are transferable skills, even though you might think because it's such a different environment, they're not.
Exactly. And I think young people need to include all of that when they're starting to look for colleges and looking for college scholarships. All of that's so valuable. We have gone through that. The selection process many years in a row. My husband served on a scholarship committee, and it's so tough because you have a lot of very, very qualified young people out there, very gifted, bright, and qualified kids, and it is so hard to pare down to those few that you have to choose. So it's very, very important, and I just needed to put that out there because I know spring break is here, and all of a sudden summer's here, and you got to start getting those summer jobs, and it's a challenge for most parents with teenagers. So I just wanted to remind everybody that those are two areas that are very, very important.
Absolutely. So I'm going to bring Debbie Gregory on, Rob, unless you have any other housekeeping to do. Because I'd like her to introduce herself on behalf of Vamboa and Military Connection, so that the next 3 segments of the show we can really get into what's new over there, what these groups are offering. So you're really going to want to stay tuned for that after the break. Debbie, you've got a couple minutes before we go to commercial break. I'd love for you to introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you very much. I'm Debbie Gregory, and I'm the CEO of MilitaryConnection.com and the founder of Vamboa, Veteran and Military Business Owners Association. Let me tell you just a little bit about each organization. MilitaryConnection.com is a very comprehensive and diversified directory of resources and information for military veterans and their loved ones. And there's literally, Sandra, something for everyone. There are thousands of pages of resources. We focus on employment. We also focus on education, but we cover everything and anything in between. I think we're unique in that we are for profit, but we use our reach, and we have a significant reach. We're approaching close to 400,000 followers alone on Twitter between both organizations. But we use it to work with nonprofits and associations to serve the military veteran community. We strongly believe that if you're a company that wants to hire veterans, or a school that wants to, have veteran students, or even you offer some product or service, that it makes good business sense and it does good in the community to work with nonprofits and actually, get involved. And we facilitate those partnerships. So I have the honor of working with the best people on the planet, and I work with close to 100 nonprofits nationwide that serve the needs of military and veterans. And, there's major programs. We've done concerts, we've done major events, but we've also done, ones that don't cost a lot of money but still do good. It could be something as simple as collecting comfort items for deployed soldiers. It could be signing a statement of support for the Guard and Reserve. There's all kinds of programs.
I can't wait to hear more about them, Debbie. We have Debbie Gregory. We're so fortunate that you're with us today. Debbie Gregory from MilitaryConnection.com and Vamboa.org. We'll be right back here on Military Mom Talk Radio.
Are you a military mom looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? Well, that's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd. And we'll be right back after these.
In today's business world, a helping hand or idea that doesn't come with an invoice is a treasured find. And if that happens to you, then you need to pay it forward to keep other entrepreneurs from making mistakes or getting a raw deal. It's called Paying It Forward with Josephine Gerasi, Wednesday mornings at 10, 9 a.m. Central. Josephine is going to have the guests describe their accomplishments, the lessons they've learned, both good and bad, and then sharing those pieces of knowledge as we create a movement of paying it forward. For more information about Josephine, her business, and background, you can go to mymomknowsbest.com. Josephine Gerasi has always been a problem solver. She saw this need and has turned it into a movement. It's Paying It Forward with tips, tools, and advice and hard lessons learned. These pieces of knowledge can make a huge difference for you, your business, and others. So join us for Paying It Forward with Josephine Gerasi, Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m., 9 a.m. Central on Toginet.com.
This is the Toginet Radio Network, radio with a cutting edge.
If you're ready for a big change in your work, your career, your happiness, your life, it's time for the $1 Million Mindset with Marla Tabaka. Monday afternoons at 2, 1 Central on Toginet.com. Marla believes that with the right mindset, anything is possible. Join us as successful life coach Marla Tabaka inspires you and her clients to explore, discover, and live your dreams by developing what she calls the $1 Million Mindset. Marla will inspire you to take action on your dreams and reveal secrets to success that will help you realize your own unique power. Tune into the $1 Million Mindset for heartwarming stories with Marla Tabaka. Learn tips and tricks to building a successful business and unlock the secrets to creating a happier, more balanced life through abundant thinking and attraction power. For more information on the $1 Million Mindset, go to our website, marlatabaka.com. That's MarlaTabaka.com. It's the $1 Million Mindset with Marla Tabaka. Monday afternoons at 1 p.m. Central on Toginet.com.
We'll put a boot in your ass. It's the American way. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list, and the Statue of Liberty started shaking.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on Toginet.com. Covering topics to help on the home front with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sale at the BX. Now let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey, military moms, this is Sandra Beck, and today we're visiting with Debbie Gregory of Military Connection, and I'm here with Robin Boyd, my co-host in crime, partner in crime. We have a lot of fun on this show, don't we, Rob?
Oh, we sure have had, and looking forward to all the more.
So one of the things that we want to congratulate Miss Debbie Gregory of Military Connection and Vamboa is the winning of the User's Choice Award. So Debbie, we want to congratulate you on that. Will you tell our listeners a little bit more about this award?
Okay, thank you both very much. We are just delighted that we won it. WEDLS and the International Association of Employment Websites allow users to vote for their, best sites. And there's about 200,000 employment sites out there, and then the top 30 received the User's Choice Award. We did not even know that we were being considered for it. We've always made the top 100 websites, which we're honored to have. And personally, had I known we were in the running, I would have put my social media to use, but I didn't need to. That's the good news. And there's 30 websites. And given that I always feel a little bit like an imposter in the sense that we're not a traditional employment website. That isn't, the other ones, that's all they do is employment, and it's mainly about a job board where we kind of repeat the message. We have a job board. We have, a virtual job fair that are ads that tell you about the companies that are looking. We have all kinds of resources for employees, job tips, licensing boards, how to interview, what to wear to a military job fair, just tons of articles. We kind of repeat the employer's message. But anyway, the good news is that we were notified at the end of January that we had been selected as one of the 30. And compared to some of the sites that have won, like that are in this 30, Monster, Indeed, we're very honored to be part of it. And we're thrilled about it. It's a very prestigious award, and it kind of validates what we're doing in the employment sector.
But isn't it true when you stop and think, those boards, and certainly we have used all of them, Indeed and Jobs USA, we've used all of them. It just is that. It is a listing, but your site goes the next step beyond to, like you say, give what to wear to a job fair, how to prepare a resume, all of those extra things that helps the individual land that one job that
right.
They
we
might
have a
be
lot of
trying to
resources.
target.
We have a lot of resources. You're right, and not only the resources, but employers that are wanting to hire veterans and military. I think, I came from a recruitment background, and I think a job posting isn't enough to attract the best candidates. And that repeating the message and getting your name out there and facilitating win-win partnerships within the community and keeping it front and center is what really gets the best candidates. And sometimes the passive job seekers, the person that is not going to go and register on different job boards, but is kind of looking for the right opportunity if it comes along, they tend to be the best candidates. And I think we attract them. And I also think that we do a really good job for the employers that we work with in that we repeat the message. We keep it front and center in a variety of ways. And we engage the employer to be part of the community. And, that's a good segue into something else that I want to talk about, and that is that, many wonderful companies are hiring military veterans. By the way, the tax credits were retroactively extended to the end of last year. And I'm working with anybody that will work with me on legislation to make it more permanent so that each year we don't have to extend the tax credits, but also making it easy for employers to file it. The way it is now, many of them go through a third party they have to hire to do the paperwork, and it's just hard to a lot of people don't apply for the credits, do them, the smaller companies, and that's not right. But the point is that even though there's a big effort in companies hiring veterans and they recognize what they contribute, they're not retaining them. The retention rate, according to statistics, is poor after 2 years. And I think that there's ways to overcome that challenge. Veterans and military are very knowledgeable how to navigate their military career, how to get the next promotion, the next pay grade. But when it comes to the civilian world, it's all new to them. And I am working with a retired general who heads the veteran student effort at Sullivan University, which is one of our clients. And Sullivan, by the way, is very well respected. They even have a branch at Fort Knox. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes.
We're listening.
Oh, I wasn't sure if we were connected.
Yeah, no, we're engrossed.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, they have a branch at Fort Knox, but he and I share a lot of common beliefs in that the training and the employer being engaged in the training, and the training, besides being specific to the job, also covers corporate culture and some soft skills, and also it should have issues such as PTSD and mental health, not just for employees. If you work for a company, you can usually go to somebody privately with, if you're having any personal issues. And a lot of veterans don't realize that, and oftentimes they wait until it's a very critical situation before they ask for help. And there is help out there. And there's free and confidential help. It doesn't have to be on the record because that seems to be a big concern. There are wonderful groups out there. One of them is Give an Hour. I've mentioned it before. And Give an Hour just launched a program that we're partners in called Change Direction that Michelle Obama, the First Lady, helped launch a few weeks ago. And it's to change the conversation on mental health. But it's really important when somebody needs help that they get it right away. And whether they can afford to pay for it or not, or they want it to be confidential, that, those aren't the main issues. They can't just call up for an appointment and wait to see someone. That's, when they're asking, they needed it, yesterday. And also, how do you recognize symptoms in yourself and others? So that could be part of the training. And also letting people know how to navigate that corporate culture. So that's something I'm working on. I think that it kind of ties education and training right into employment, and that's the way it should be for success.
Well, yeah, it has to be. It's like, when you transfer careers, even, from me going in from the entertainment industry, Debbie, to corporate America was a big change for me because I was used to wearing jeans to go to the studios. I'd get in there at 10. I'd leave when I felt like it. You'd wander around to the commissary. It was just a very different environment. We did a good job. It was just a completely different informal culture. And then all of a sudden I go into this corporate arena, where it was very, very different, my communication styles. And I got my share of bumps and bruises along the ways until I adjusted. But it's a huge adjustment.
You had to learn the rules of engagement.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, they criticized me because my emails were too informal. The way I dressed people everything was too informal. My dress was too informal. I did a great job, but it was really stressful because I didn't know what I didn't know, and they didn't know how to help me other than criticize. So it's a tough thing, when you change big cultures like that, from a military culture to a corporate culture, or in my case, entertainment industry, to a corporate culture. It was very difficult.
Right, and in any job there's challenges. No job is perfect, and things come up. And it's overcoming those challenges. I mean, whether even civilians in the civilian world could use help in navigating their career. But there is a big transition from military service all the way to, the corporate culture, as you said. If you can imagine how you felt, imagine coming from, the military or a combat environment into the corporate culture and all the changes to navigate and to understand the rules of engagement.
Well, and I can tell you, sorry, Rob, I'm just going to finish something. I'll go over to you. Yeah. I can tell you a very funny story. When I was in that corporate environment, I hired a bunch of veterans to work for me because it was a good comfort level for me. And it was very funny. It was funny and not funny, but it was funny because I gave them these jobs to do. They would report back to me, yes, ma'am, right away, ma'am, here you go, ma'am, everything was done, ma'am. It was really efficient because I work really well with that type of personality. It drove the people in my office bananas. From the management on down, they weren't used to, and I'm just going to say it, they weren't used to efficiency. They weren't used to this kind of order. They weren't used to this kind of directives where I just barked out a directive, got my response. It was really great, but it did drive everybody bananas. So sorry, Rob, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I'm glad you said that because it's true, which kind of alludes to what my comment was going to be. I think in the military, there's a structure, and it's a given structure, and no matter where you are and what place you are, it's that same structure. And in the civilian, especially workplace, every culture is a little different. This company is going to have one kind of culture, another is going to have a different kind of culture. Yes, there's certain business protocol that's appropriate, but I think that having that flexibility to be able to ebb and flow depending on what a given industry is going to demand is something that is hard to embrace if you've been in the military for a long period of time. So I'm so glad that there is the support out there to give these folks a good support in order to be able to integrate and be able to put their talents and good uses to that good purpose. We are here today with Debbie Gregory. She is the CEO of MilitaryConnection.com, as well as the founder of VAMBOA, Veteran and Military Business Owners Association. We're going to have her back for the second half of the show, so do stay tuned, and we'll be right back here on Military Mom Talk Radio.
Are you a military mom looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? Well, that's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd. And we'll be right back after these.
Have you heard? The pages of American Patchwork and Quilting magazine come to life on our new weekly online radio show, American Patchwork and Quilting. Join Pat Sloan, our blogging and quilt designer host, as she talks about the latest trends, ideas, and inspirations. Her guests include quilt pattern designers, authors, quilt shop owners, and our editors, all quilters, just like you. Call in with your questions. Get quilting tips from industry experts. Learn about free patterns. Hear behind-the-scenes stories from our magazines, American Patchwork and Quilting, Quilt Sampler, and Quilts and More. Get the scoop on free stuff and find out more about the best independent quilt shops in North America. To listen to a live show, tune in Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Just log on to allpeoplequilt.com/radio. To hear past shows, go to iTunes and search for American Patchwork and Quilting Radio. We hope you'll join us because we know that quilting changes everything.
This is the Toginet Radio Network, radio with a cutting edge.
Are you looking for something more in your life or business? More success, more stability, more happiness? It's all out there waiting for you. But it doesn't just happen. You've got to go get it. Make it happen with Michelle McCullough, where motivation and strategy intersect. Michelle is a serial entrepreneur, acclaimed speaker, and the Woohoo Radio Network's resident business and success strategist. Michelle has the smarts, strategies, and experience to help you improve your life and take your business to the next level. You've got big dreams. You've got big vision. Now it's time for you to make it happen.
'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on Toginet.com. Covering topics to help on the home front with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sale at the BX. Now let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey, military moms, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Robin Boyd, and we are visiting with Debbie Gregory of Military Connection. That's the website, MILITARY Connection, CONNECTION.com. We got some background noise going on, so we're just going to work through this right now. Debbie, when you first started Military Connection, did you have any idea how big and how important your site would become?
No, I didn't, but my idea, my developer at that time's mantra was Debbie, stop. I wanted to have resources. I wanted it to be more than an employment site. And we just spent so much time and energy and people, getting all the different links that are there, every commissary, every base, every hospital, every veteran service officer, that kind of thing. And it's a lot of work to keep it viable and relevant and current. And sometimes I think it'd be so much easier just to focus on one thing. I feel like I've got multiple personalities because there's so much, to do. But no, I didn't think it would. I mean, I hoped that it would become that big, and I felt like if I did a good job, it would be. But we are glad that we're providing it, and I love what I do. I love the people I get to work with, like you and the nonprofits and some of these great employers and the candidates. And many people think we're the government. There isn't a day that goes by that somebody doesn't call us with a question. And what we try to do is direct them to the right place for it. Not necessarily on the site. We'll even find a phone number for them.
How big a staff do you have, Debbie, on Military Connection?
Actually, we're quite small. We've got people think we have about 50 people. We just all work, like 5 people or so. But we've got
no kidding. That's phenomenal.
There's a handful of us, and we always, we have a veteran student that is our head writer, who's working on his master's. And we're looking for other writers right now. Mm-hmm. We use a lot of services offline, our hosting, our search marketing company that's been on retainer, but there's a handful of us. And I'll tell you, it's really been a challenge to be able to do Military Connection and also do Bamboa. Veteran and Military Business Owners Association. There aren't enough hours in the day for all the things that I want to do.
They're both so comprehensive, and that's the challenge, because the information that you have on one is tremendous, and then to have an equally comprehensive site for the business owners is tremendous. Plus, you do a lot of speaking engagements, and you're out a lot as well.
Right, and I've really had to. I have to pick and choose what I go to because. Can you excuse me 1 minute?
Oh, God.
I'll be really quick. Somebody's banging on the office door here. Hang on.
Isn't that always the truth with live radio, huh, Sand?
Oh, yeah. We got to have – Sally's going to be jealous because that one show that Sally barked the whole time.
Oh, gosh,
remember that? we can give Debbie Gregory's dog some credit today. Yes, but, it's life radio.
That's true. That's true. And
I'm so sorry about that.
I was going to say, we give your dog air credit.
We keep we have 2 suites, and we keep one, the door locked, so they use the other one, and somebody just kept banging on the other one. But anyway, getting back to what it is, I have to pick and choose. For instance, I really wanted to go to Washington, D.C. for the launch of Change Direction. And they had, amazing events, and the First Lady was speaking. But going to Washington, D.C. isn't an overnight trip. So I decided not to go at this time because I've got some other things going on. And, it's always a matter, like anything else, of choices, and you hope you make the right ones.
Oh, see, I just am in awe of the things that you've done so far and how you fit it all in a day. When did Vamboa sort of come onto your horizon? I know you were so busy in establishing Military Connection. When did you realize that business owners really needed to have an entity of their own?
Well, I realized, working with transitioning military, that there are different paths that they can follow. They may want to go to get a job. They may want to go back to school to prepare themselves for some specific field and use the benefits, the wonderful benefits that they've earned. But many are very good at beginning their own business. And I felt that covering entrepreneurs and working with them, too, was all part of the territory. Also, in looking at the veteran business organizations out there, many of them focus on working with the government. And I wanted my focus to be working with the private companies that are dying to do business with service-disabled and veteran and military business owners. And they might be a little bit harder to connect with and, not is front and center. But I think that, once you have a relationship with them, it's a good one. And in many cases, it can be easier than working with the government. The government contracts, there are just so many twists and turns, and subcontractors and prime contractors, and there's people that know so much more about it than I will ever know. Where I've worked with private corporations, and I wanted that to be the focus of Vamboa. And I wanted to give a shout-out, by the way. We're working with a company, J-Dog. And J-Dog is a former Marine, and they have franchises available from veterans and military. They're giving significant discounts, and the franchisee doesn't need a huge staff, and it has to do with junk removal, but it's a very lucrative business. And the person that heads J-Dog is very dedicated to military and veterans. So if there's anybody out there saying, gee, what would be a great business for me, please contact me and look into the J-Dog franchises, because I think that you can get them up and running and, make money very quickly.
How fascinating. I have one question, Debbie. Do you find, or are you looking at trends that more and more entrepreneurs are blossoming because jobs are either difficult to find or many jobs are more specialized than ever? I think nowadays every job becomes more and more specialized so that not everybody can fit that criteria.
I think that it depends on the person. It's not one size fits all. Yeah. And some people find that they want to work for a big organization and have benefits and not worry about those kinds of details, and they flourish in a big corporate structure or a big structure, which the military is a big structure. The only thing the military doesn't do, they do almost everything, is, manufacture a product from conception to out the door, but everything in between they're involved in. But there are those that, after being in that large structure, want to try on their own and have ideas. And, starting their own business is part of it. But I will tell anybody that goes into it, when you have your own business, you're going to work harder because you wind up doing a lot of things in a big environment that other people are doing for you. Mm-hmm. But you get the most reward, too.
Right. Well, I'm going to weigh in on that too. I'm going to weigh in on that as an entrepreneur myself, versus working for a big company. If you've been away from your family a long time and you really, need some flexibility, yes, you'll work longer hours. But the nice thing about it is that you have some flexibility to work within the things that you prioritize. I know for me, like after I left corporate America, it was a huge priority for me to be at my kids' baseball games, soccer games, and music events, or if they got an award at school. So, when I looked at constructing Life 2.0 after my last career, it really gave me a lot of flexibility, to own my own company. It is a lot of work. It is a lot of decision making, and it's just different, Deb. I will say it's different. If you need that security and you want certain things, you got to know yourself. You got to really sit down and take the time, and I know it's tough when you don't have a paycheck coming in to sit down and contemplate your navel on what you want to do and how you want to live. But if you take that time to think about what you need and what you really want, you can make the best decision for you.
I know.
I agree with you.
An awful lot more. Yeah.
Sometimes you find something doesn't work, and then you try something else too. When you start your own business, sometimes you have to reinvent yourself, and you change, and you have to fail before you. Some of the largest businesses you'll read, they failed before there was success.
Right, or you morph into it. Like for me, my first company is not that different from what I am doing now, but it is a little bit different. So, it does change, but we all change and grow. The nice thing is that you can change and grow as you add children. Maybe you get divorced, maybe you get married. I mean, it gives you a lot of flexibility. Well, hey, that's the way of the day. That's the way it is today.
Or needs change. I mean, even just looking at the technology, your business changed, San, because look at how social media has changed our whole society. I mean, 10 years ago, you didn't have the same kind of demand in social media as a business does now.
Oh, everything has changed in that regard. You're so right.
Yeah. So I think that is where I would bet that there would be a lot of changes and blossoms. Years and years ago, in our father's generation, they had one job that they were there for they got the 50, 55, 60-year watch or whatever when they retired, and that was the one and only job. And now people are very multidimensional and multifaceted, and I think that that's just a great thing. And to help us all through it is Debbie Gregory. She is here with us today on Military Mom Talk Radio, and we're delighted to have her. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Veteran and Military Business Owners Association right after this break.
Are you a military mom looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? Well, that's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd. And we'll be right back after these.
Are you looking for something more in your life or business? More success, more stability, more happiness? It's all out there waiting for you. But it doesn't just happen. You've got to go get it. Make it happen with Michelle McCullough, where motivation and strategy intersect. Michelle is a serial entrepreneur, acclaimed speaker, and the Woohoo Radio Network's resident business and success strategist. Michelle has the smarts, strategies, and experience to help you improve your life and take your business to the next level. You've got big dreams. You've got big vision. Now it's time for you to make it happen.
It's words you never heard.
Did you ever wonder who invented the Band-Aid? In 1921, a man by the name of Earl Dixon was working as a cotton buyer for the Johnson & Johnson Company. Earl's wife, Josephine, was always cutting her fingers while cooking in the kitchen. So one day, he took a piece of gauze and attached it to the center of a piece of tape, covered it in crinoline to keep it sterile, and placed it over her wound. His boss, James Johnson, heard about Earl's little invention and decided to start mass-producing these Band-Aids to sell to the public. Johnson & Johnson decided to give Boy Scout troops free Band-Aids as a publicity stunt, which started the telewagging, and the rest is history. What do the British, Irish, Aussies, New Zealanders, and South Africans call Band-Aids? Plasters.
It's words you never heard.
I'm Carolyn Davidson, and Words You Never Heard has been brought to you by the Bariatric Surgery Center of Dallas.
We'll put a boot in your ass. It's the American way. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list, and a statue of liberty started shaking.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on Toginet.com. Covering topics to help on the home front with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sale at the BX. Now let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey, military moms, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Robin Boyd, and we're visiting today with Debbie Gregory. For those of you that missed the first 3 quarters of today's show, you're going to want to check out militarymomtalkradio.com. You can find us also on iTunes. You can go to our host station owned by Global Broadcasting Networks, Toginet, that's TOGINET.com, for this and hundreds of hours of family-friendly military programming. We've been talking today with Debbie Gregory, the owner of militaryconnection.com, spells just like how it sounds. There's lots of great information on this site, from a directory of scholarships to informations about companies that are hiring, some tips and tricks. There's so many links to great things. I want to talk a little bit now, Deb, about what are some of the trends that you're seeing. You know, what's going on in housing with the military family? You seem to have your finger on the pulse of this and some of the things that are happening here in California that may be replicated around the country.
I think, hang on one second, I'm on the radio. I think housing, that those who have served should check out the VA loans because the interest rates are very good. There are no closing costs. And I don't know if any people know this, but you can use a VA loan more than once.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that is correct.
Mm-hmm. And that's great to know.
And that's a great housing trend. And right now, I understand that interest rates will probably remain without being, they're not going to raise them until about April, according to what the Fed said. So if somebody's going to buy a house, they might want to look at doing it sooner than later. My son, who just turned 25, just made an offer on his first house, and he got locked into a really good rate, up under 4%. On a long, 30-year loan. So there's some good rates out there. We also work with a group called ARC Loans, and the head of ARC Loans has 3 sons that are all in the military. In fact, one is deployed. So they give special consideration to those that serve, and they're a wonderful organization. They're headquartered in Washington, D.C.
On your Vamboa site, I know you have something listed under finances. Do you ever help people who are looking for grants or startup funds through Vamboa?
Actually, we're working with an organization called Street Shares. And Street Shares is working with veteran business owners, and they just have a program now where they have $200 million available for startups and for veteran and military-owned businesses. And if somebody's interested, they can contact us, and we'll put them in touch.
Interesting. Is this a new program?
Well, they've been around a little bit, okay? Mm-hmm. But this $200 million is new funding that they've gotten recently. They just announced it in the last week or two. And we're going to be working with them on an MOU to, get the word out through Vamboa, because financing is one of the most important things. It's great to want to start a business, but it does cost money to start a business. Mm-hmm. And especially, if you're new, it makes it even, more challenging.
Well, Deb, I just want to take a second here. I'm on Military Connection right now, and I want to just talk about some of the things that are on your site here. Like, I went under the veteran button, and it's like you've got veteran forums. You've got everything from golf courses to helpful links to deals and a benefits guide, organizations, links to different directories and education, the Veterans Court, which we have out here, which is pretty neat. And then, you go into the resources, whether it's, grief resources or stuff for military spouses. There's so much on here. We haven't even touched on, you've got job tips, job fairs. There's a job board, stuff about tax credits, virtual job fair. Then you go into the education section. You've got information on the GI Bill comparison tool. You've got prep discounts for the SATs, a virtual school directory. And then you get into housing, finance. And my favorite one to go to, Deb, and I know this is ridiculous, but I love fast food. So I like to go to your deals and discounts
page. The deals page? Right. We try to put deals, and we're developing that more and more, especially those organizations. We work with a group called Armed Forces Vacation Club. And speaking of deals, they have wonderful deals for travel. And, travel is so much part of the military culture, maybe more than the mainstream civilian culture, because military have always had 30 days off, and they take vacations. And they're kind of like in Europe, where Americans don't appreciate or take vacations as much. We're sort of workaholics, but our military, when they're off, they spend that quality time with their families, especially since they're separated. So to be able to get deals on travel and hotels, and it's a wonderful organization, and they have a lot of retired military that work there as well.
Yeah, well, and there's so much on here too, like from Panda Express to Payless shoe stores to, Pet Boys, Pizza Hut. These are places that, we frequent often. There's movie theater discounts. There's all these things. And, I think, I know when I finally told my dad, my dad about, using his military ID. He uses it everywhere. He just, for one, I think it gives people a chance to honor our service members. I know when my dad whips out his ID he's retired now, but he whips out his card and, sometimes he'll start chatting up with somebody who's in line, or he'll chat up the guy who's doing the discount and, I served and blah, blah, blah. It really is. It's so much more than just the deal and the discount, because 10% on a $4 meal might only be, 10 cents, but or 40 cents. But you know what I mean? It's not really the money adds up for sure, but it's also that connection. And I wanted to bring that up, Debbie, because you are all about military connection. And when you bring out your card, you allow people to talk to you about your service. They will talk to you about their service. And it's super fun. I think it's so important. You get much more out of it than your discount.
Mm-hmm. Right. I think it's important. And also, even if you don't see a discount, it doesn't hurt to ask when you go someplace. Do you have a military or veteran discount?
And it puts a face to
a lot of people will, maybe they don't publicize it and it's not out there, but it exists, especially with hotels and, big ticket items too. I don't think the car dealers are going to give it, but
it'd be nice if they did.
It'd be very nice.
But as I was starting to say, I think
some of them have like a special $500 rebate from time to time, but you have to look at it too, and also make sure the buyer needs to be aware too, and make sure that it is in fact a deal.
Yeah.
We get approached all the time by companies that say, "Oh, we want to give a discount," and they're offering a very nominal, almost nothing discount, and then they want us to list it. And, we try to vet everything that we put up and make sure, number one, that it is current, that it is for real, and that it's a good discount.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, and that's what we talked about in the beginning, Rob, you and me in the opening segment is, there's a lot of sources out there that say they're military resources, and some of them are and some of them aren't. And that's why, we've always been big supporters of Military Connection with Debbie Gregory for just that reason. She's vetted it, she's looked at it, and if there's any security in that your information is correct and timely and valid, that's it.
Absolutely.
Well, we work hard to do it that way. So thank you. For recognizing that. We appreciate it.
What's on your horizon, Debbie?
My horizon? I'd like to work a little bit less. We launched the new website this year, and that was a tremendous amount of work. And I'm just kind of looking and trying to figure out where what I want to do when I grow up, where I want to focus my energy instead of doing so much. It's sort of a life change. My husband is kind of a jock, and as a jock, he has injuries, so he had to take an early retirement due to these injuries. And it's really hard working this hard and him being retired is something to get used to. Let's put it that way.
I know exactly what you mean. Exactly what you mean. But those are sometimes opportunities that just haven't blossomed yet. So we hope that maybe is an opportunity.
Well, hey, Debbie, I hope so too. And I just want to give a shout out to all those that serve and have served and the families too that serve, that make just such wonderful sacrifices, like the two of you.
Well, it's not that hard. We just get to sit here and talk, huh, Rob?
Absolutely.
But thank you. Thank you very much. Debbie, I have a quick question for you. I've only got a couple of minutes for a break. When you see that someone is leaving the service, what's your best piece of advice? You've got about a minute for a young man or woman today leaving the service and seeking a job, because I think that's really timely. What's your best piece of advice for them?
My best piece of advice is pay attention in the GPS transition to the resources. But when you get on the local level, make sure your state knows that you're out there, because there are a lot of resources. For instance, in California, our state works with employer development. The state may give special incentives to employers that hire veterans. Find out what benefits you've earned. You've earned them. You've made the sacrifices, and connect. One of the biggest challenges throughout the country, the DOD, the VA, once somebody leaves the military, is they don't, unless they're getting benefits, they don't know where they are, how to get hold of them, how to let them know about benefits. And we've seen a lot of benefits like stop-loss pay, all kinds of things that people have left on the table because they don't know about it. So there's veteran service officers all over the country. Connect, find out what you're entitled to. I'll give you an example, and I'll end it with that. Very few people know about a benefit called aid and attendance. It's for military and veterans that have served. They've only had to serve 24 hours. It's for those with very limited resources. If they become ill and elderly, there's a benefit of up to $2,000 a month that pays for their care, even if it's a family member helping with the care. It's designed for those that have very limited resources, but getting the word out to the widows and to the military that have served, whenever I tell somebody about it, they're just amazed. You mean I might qualify for this? It could change their whole life.
It will change their lives. And Debbie, we thank you so much for this. And it's so enlightening. Debbie Gregory from militaryconnection.com and Vamboa, VAMBOA.org. Have a great week, everyone.
Thank you.